Moms, since the beginning of time, the bond between mothers and their children has gone unquestioned, right? It's simply common sense. But today we live in an era of complete nonsense. The nuclear family is under attack. We know that. Author Kimberly Ells exposes how anti-family policies are affecting our kids, and she offers great advice today and some hope on how to defend our rights and our families. Welcome to the Moms for America podcast. Each week, special guests tackle the issues facing the moms of America today. Discussions include personal stories and advice on how moms can build a strong foundation of faith, family, and freedom in their homes and country. Hi, I'm Debbie Kurlandis, your host, and thank you for joining me once again this week. I'm so glad that you're here, moms. Right here on the top of the show, I always want to invite you to like and subscribe to our podcast. We also ask that you share this podcast with your mama friends. It's going to be another great episode today on a very interesting topic. I can't wait for you to hear from Kimberly. Also, I do want to invite all of our moms that are listening to join the movement here at Moms for America. Come on, moms, please join us. We are moms uniting all across the country to fight for faith, family, freedom, and the Constitution. Please go to our website, momsforamerica.us. Check out all of our resources for you in your journey through motherhood. We are here to help you. All righty, on to today's program. Author Kimberly Ells is my guest. I can't wait for you to hear her story. She is a researcher and a writer on family issues, and she has worked as a policy advisor for the past 9 years. Kimberly has written an incredible book. It's called The Invincible Family: Why the Global Campaign to Crush Motherhood and Fatherhood Can't Win. This is going to be very interesting. Well, welcome, Kimberly, to the Moms for America podcast. We're so glad to have you. I'm excited to chat about what you've discovered and learned about our world, our crazy world, I should say. But first, could you tell us a little bit about your family and your tribe over there?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. I love Moms for America. I've been looking forward to this for some time. So thank you so much and for the work you're doing. Our family, I had 4 daughters very close together. And they're all at college age now. And then we had a 12-year gap. And then we have a little 6-year-old boy. So
boy.
Lots of fun at our house. He basically has 5 moms. Which is great fun. It was unexpected, and it's the best surprise that we could have ever had. And I couldn't have understood how much I would love it having him later in life. So I was an old lady when I had him. I was 42. So
that's so funny, Kimberly. My mom had me at 42.
Oh, really?
And I was a surprise 16 years later after both my brothers were 16 and 20. Then I came as the only girl. So it's kind of funny, but my mom had me at 42, and boy, did I keep her going.
See, and now look at the great things you're doing. Our surprise babies are some of our best gifts, I think.
Yes. And I love the title Surprise Baby instead of Unplanned.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because it was a surprise, but it was a surprise to us, but not a surprise to the Lord. But
right.
So good.
God knows what he's doing.
All right. So you're keeping it, the 12-year-old's keeping you busy while everybody else is at college.
No. 6-year-old, 12-year gap in between. So he's little. Yeah. So
12-year gap, 6 years old.
Yeah.
He's keeping you busy.
Yeah. He's the best.
So fun. Well, I love that you're a mom of 5. I love your story. I love what you've really discovered. Even though I don't like the topic, I love that you ran forward and discovered this, and now you can talk with us as moms about this. So I kind of want to start a little bit about your journey. In 2013, right, you joined an international organization working to protect the interests of children and families.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about the beginning of this journey and why you started on it.
Right. Well, before I even joined the organization, which was Family Watch International, I had just been interested in family topics for some time, done some private writing about it, was looking kind of for a way to contribute, was concerned about some things I saw in society. So I was kind of keeping my eye out. And I was looking for something totally different online one day, and I came across a document that ended up changing my life. It was a document about the sexual rights of children, sexual rights for youth. And I thought, wait, what? What is this?
World?
And it was published, as I discovered, by International Planned Parenthood Federation. And at first I thought maybe this is satire, because how can this be? No reasonable person would produce something like this. But alas, it was real. And so I got studying, and I spent basically that whole day digging into this and trying to find out, where did this come from? How widespread is this? And by the end of the day, I thought, I am going to fight this with everything I have for the rest of my life if necessary, because it's not acceptable in our society to be promoting sexual rights to children. And then long story short, very quickly, God connected me to Family Watch International. And much to my surprise, this was their main issue, was fighting the children's sexual rights agenda at the global level. And so I felt like God that was a match that he made. And I was able to jump on board and learn and contribute for the past 10 years.
All right, so let's unpack this, because that was a loaded statement. I mean, you basically went on the internet and found horrific information. So there's two sexual, right? There's the sexual rights campaign that Planned Parenthood. I just kind of want to break this down for our moms so they can understand it. And then there's the children's sexual rights campaign. They're connected as one, an umbrella. How are they connected?
Well, the International Planned Parenthood Federation and its many partners views sexuality as a human right for all people. In fact, a quote from the document that I found that day is, they say, sexuality and sexual pleasure are important parts of being human for everyone, no matter what age, no matter if you're married or not, and no matter if you want to have children or not. And then it goes on to say that governments and leaders have a responsibility and duty to respect and fulfill all sexual rights for everyone. So that sums up the ideology that they have embraced. And the thing that's dangerous is that it's not just, I've discovered, it's not just International Planned Parenthood Federation. And what they have done now is that they partner with specifically UN agencies, including UNESCO, UNICEF, the entity that's supposed to protect children worldwide, and
supposed
UNFPA,
to protect children. Yeah.
Yes. And they have all embraced the children's sexual rights ideology. And that's manifested in so many ways. For instance, on a UN document published by UNESCO, all of their logos appear on this document that's called the International Technical Guidance on Sexuality Education. And it is laced. Now, it's not all terrible. Some of it's okay, but it's laced with sexual rights ideology that I just outlined from that quote. And so they have all bought into a huge degree into this ideology. And I'm not okay with that.
No,
and I don't think most
okay
of the moms
either.
of America or the world are okay with that.
Right. Just even the term children's sexual rights campaign. The only thing that I can think of that comes to mind is that we need to protect children from predators or sexualization or grooming. But that is not what this is doing, clearly.
That's not at all what it's doing. In fact, they list out specifically that children they have a right to access to sexual information and services and experience. So it's basically saying that they have a right to access information of any kind that they want to from any source. And that then, of course, sexual services, that serves Planned Parenthood's business model, because they want young children to be sexual. Why? So that they will need abortions and sexual disease testing, perhaps repeated abortions, and they can then make our children clients for their business, which is horrific. It goes deeper than that, though. They don't just want to get rich. Another partner organization is SECUS, and they've recently changed their tagline to sex ed for social change, and so they're trying to change the sexual norms in society. And of course, that's been happening for decades.
We've been seeing that, right?
But that's their tagline, is that they want to use sex ed to initiate social change. And if you look closely, as I have done, a lot of the buzzwords in there are destructive of the family. What they really want to do is destroy the family by exploiting and destroying sex. That's the agenda.
Right. And, it's so harmful when we open up these doors to the children and let these groomers come in, let them start picking their identity, let them start experimenting, normalizing sex to a child sexual situations, sexual discussions is sick. That's basically what it is. It is sick, and it is it's horrible. So this program, this journey that you went on, you started exposing
Mhm.
this in your book. So I
Mhm.
kind of want to talk about what are some of the things that you address. Now, you just talked briefly about the nuclear family and the how they're
Mhm.
destroying the nuclear family, and they're making kids clients of Planned Parenthood, and they're sexualizing them, and this just drives me crazy. I know every mom that's listening right now just like wants to put their, their fist through ever anything to that anybody that's
Mhm.
coming after their child. So why is it so important for them to destroy the nuclear family? Why is this they're so afraid of this foundation, aren't they? A mother, a
Mhm.
father, the bond between a mother and a child. They want to destroy this, and basically, obviously, they want to become the parents, the government, the global world. They want to
Right.
raise our kids.
Right. And so let me backpedal just a little bit. So there's two things that drove me to write the book. And that was the first thing is the Children's Sexual Rights Campaign. The second part of it is that I came to understand that women, specifically mothers, hold the most
Mm,
powerful position in society. And I
mm,
think that's absolutely true. And I stand by that statement. And that
I
is a
do too.
story that is almost never told. You guys are telling it to some degree,
Right.
but I felt like I wanted to tell it in a way that it's hardly ever presented. And so, just in brief, and I spend time on this in the book, but if you think about it, when a baby is born, it's born to who?
The
Always
mother,
a mother.
yes.
Always a mother.
Belongs to
Hopefully,
the mother. Yes.
hopefully a father too in tandem. That's going to work out best. But regardless of that, it's always a mother.
Right.
Always a mother. And there's almost nobody that's going to claim that when a woman bears a child, that child does not belong to her. That's something that
Right.
almost all cultures and people have respected for all time, is when a baby is born, it belongs
It
to
sure
the
does.
mother. So that's significant. We kind of take that for granted, but that is absolutely key to the functioning of free society. And there's a couple of reasons why. So
And
first of
Kimberly,
all,
just
yeah,
one other thought before you go there. And the
yeah,
fact that not only the baby belongs, it's connected with the cord, it's been carried by, right? It's been
hmm,
nurtured. So it's so it's like it's a part of your body, but it's not. We know that it is a separate human being, a little person, but it is a part of us. It's
hmm,
just it's undeniable. So I'm just reaffirming what you're saying. It
right.
children belong to moms.
That's right. They do. And they're supposed to. And
Right.
that's intentional. And there's reasons for that. And one,
Right.
I'll just piggyback on what you just started to say, is that because a baby has been, in essence, a part of the mom's body
Right.
inside the mother's body,
Right.
the mother feels like the baby is actually part of her, which the baby
Right.
is. And it's also literally a part of the father. And so
Mhm.
if usually people have a love of themselves to the level of self-preservation, and that's a healthy kind of self-love, right? we
Right.
we want to protect ourselves, we want to nourish ourselves, and that is in fact good to a certain point. And so how do you get somebody to love somebody else in that
Mm.
profound way? That's hard, but
Mhm.
God has found a way, and that is through childbirth in the family, because a child is literally part of its father and mother. And so
Right.
the self-love that we all kind of inherently have is then transferred to, in almost all cases, most cases, is then transferred to, it helps us transfer our self-love to the love of others, which are
Right.
our children, because they were part of us.
Right.
We love them because they were part of us. And
Mhm.
that's why families usually work. I'm not saying families are always perfect, but they're the things that work the best, that
Right.
nurture humanity the best. Okay, so going back to where I
Foundation.
was, yeah, going back to where I was going before. So if babies do in fact belong to their mothers and
Mhm.
fathers, which they do,
Mhm.
then that establishes a private organization that we have come to call the family. It's private
Mhm.
because of the anatomy of the woman claims a baby at birth. And so few
Mhm.
people think about it, but it's really important because, you know, the kind of battle that we're fighting now, that, you know, is that who should raise humanity? Is it parents, or is it the collective? Is it a collective raising
Mm.
of children, or is it private and parents? Well, biology and anatomy establishes that privatization wins, that
Right.
raising humanity is meant to be a private project. Of course, there can be
Right.
supporting, you know, elements, but
Sure.
raising a child is meant to be a private thing, not a public thing.
Right.
And so the family itself, when the birth of every baby establishes privatization. And so
Yes.
if you're a globalist or someone who believes
Hmm.
in collectivism, that's problematic for you. The family
Right.
is your number one enemy
Sure is.
because it's really hard to get rid of, and it privatizes everything. So
Right.
because the family is private, the whole rest of our culture, the whole rest of our economy leans in a private direction. And
Hmm.
then the work of mothers, which they usually do out of love for free, supports the entire economy in which we live. Now, we could go in that direction. The powers that be at the United Nations think that's horrible, and
Right.
that's just unpaid work, and that women are oppressed. Women are not oppressed
Right.
for raising their own children. Most women
Right.
want to do this,
Right.
regardless of, they may have other career goals, they may do other things,
Of
and that's
course.
perfectly
Aspirations. Of course.
fine. But
Right.
top priority for most women is their children. And
Yes.
that's as it should be. And when we lose that, or if we start to say that the raising of children should be communal rather than private in families, we are going down a very dangerous path. And I believe we've
Right.
been going down it for a while. And I believe that's why we're seeing so much of
Well,
the
that's where we
fallout
are
in
now.
society that we're seeing, is because of the lack of mothering and fathering, and
Right.
prioritizing that both in policy and in private practice.
Right. The culture now is coming with a new message, career first.
Mm-hmm.
Children are burdensome. Don't
Yeah.
give up your life for a family. Don't submit to a male. Don't get married. Do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And really, unfortunately, some of the culture has bought into this, but really this has been their agenda all along. Because
Mm-hmm.
just like you're saying, Kimberly, there is nothing that can come between a mother and a child. They will go to the ends of the earth they'll break it all out to protect their
Right.
child.
That's
And
what we
they,
moms are famous for, right?
right,
The love of a mother, the mama
right,
bear, and it's meant to be. Because if each child
right.
is prioritized by their own parents and protected and guided by their own parents, then theoretically the whole world is guided and protected. Of
Right.
course, there's situations of when there are orphans, and a compassionate society then takes care
Hmm.
of those children, but by and large the system works because parents prioritize their own children. And when everyone does that, everyone benefits. Every child benefits.
So you're seeing such a connection between the destruction of the family, the sexualization of children, the global community coming in, and really competing to raise your child. And then somehow all this messaging is wearing moms down because some are crushing
Mm-hmm.
to this, right? We're seeing the crushing happening. And it's because
Yeah.
really moms have lost control, dads have lost control in their
Mm-hmm.
home and in their community.
And if moms are told over and over that what they're doing is meaningless and doesn't contribute to society, so in the
Uh-uh.
book I cite how this ideology goes back to Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, the founders of
Right.
modern socialism. They say that women should be liberated from the care of children so that they can engage in socially productive work.
We're
So
so oppressed.
what they're saying is that raising humanity is not socially productive work. And that's just ridiculous on its face. That's a lie. But so many women, if you tell women for so long that that's an oppressed position, and an important way, and how they can really contribute is by getting out there and contributing to the GDP, that a lot of the work of mothering is private. And it is not appreciated broadly. It can't be, because it's private, which it should remain that
Mhm.
way. And so, but mothers don't get enough of the message that they are powerful, that
They
they
are
sit
so.
in the position of greatest power, and they can manage that however they want. And in a family, a father and a mother can manage their roles however they want to balance those. And it's really ingenious, because it provides for a great deal of flexibility while still
Mhm.
raising humanity in the best circumstances possible.
I love that term that you're saying, raising humanity. I've never just used that word. I'm raising humanity. We talk about raising little humans and all these different things, and raising
Hmm.
our families and raising the next generation. But raising humanity, I mean, what a gift it is to be a mother. And actually, Kimberly, I'd love for
Hmm.
you just now to speak to our moms that are listening, and the message that you are sharing all across the country and in your book about the important role. You just touched on it. It's a beautiful honor that we have as a mother. But what would you like to say to our moms right now, and maybe to the younger generation that are looking at, should I be a mom? Shouldn't I be a mom? Could you
Mhm.
believe that this is actually a question in the next
Right.
generation? Should I become a mom? Of course you could become a mom if God allows.
Right.
If God allows.
It's the best thing ever. Being a mom is painted. It's just ironic that motherhood is painted as an oppressive position, because a mother, my experience has been that while there are great and deep responsibilities that are heavy at times,
Yeah.
I as a mother have the greatest freedom of any other job or assignment that I know of. Moms can do motherhood however they want. Every day looks like what they want it to look like. They don't have to be somewhere 9 to 5 and have someone else telling them what to do. They are the masters of their time and their influence, and the raising of their children in the way that they think's best. It's
Right.
freeing. It's not oppression. And I taught last summer. I taught a workshop at a national conference about being a mom, and this conference was all about families. And I found it ironic that I was the only person that I know of that addressed motherhood. And I talked specifically to the cohort that you just referenced of young girls. And I talked about how painted the picture of why motherhood is important. And all the data in the world suggests that a baby's connection to its mother in the first 3 or 4 years of life is absolutely critical to the success of that person going forward for the rest of their lives. And the warm connection between mother and child is the most consistent predictor of success in all measurable areas than anything else. The warm connection of a mother to a child. So that is significant. And so
Oh.
if you tell girls, college age girls, I have 4 of them, if we let them know that while they're pursuing their education, while they're doing these other things, while they have business ambitions, that it's also okay to pursue motherhood and to prioritize motherhood, especially in the first 3 years of your child's life. That's very freeing, and to help them see how they can do that. And so anyway, I taught this class about the power of being a mom and how great it is,
Right.
and how you can prioritize it and still do other things. And I had so many girls from that age group come up to me afterwards, and they said, "No one has ever talked to us about this before. Why don't more
Wow.
people talk about this?" And I was kind of floored. No one had had this conversation about how, hey, it's okay to be a mother. In fact, it's great to be a mother. And in fact, you can do it and manage the rest of your life. It is
Right.
doable. And in fact, it's going to be the greatest thing you ever do. And you're going to love it.
Right.
So that's the
So
message I
true.
think that we can share and that perhaps we haven't, as older moms, perhaps we can do better at sharing that message of how we cherish motherhood, because it's easy to talk about the burdens of it because they are many,
Right.
but I think we need to talk more about the joys and
Amen.
the investment that motherhood is, that blesses you for the rest of your life and your children.
I think, Kimberly, as you're saying that, in days gone by, not that it was perfect, but the family was more solid, the foundation of family. Parents controlled their home more. They had more interaction. So as we have declined, I guess we've lost the beautiful message of motherhood. I think it was just always understood that motherhood was a gift and a special role that God allowed you to have. But now, since the culture, like you're saying, is coming and destroying even just that motherhood is questionable, we're just really a crazy time. So thank you for discussing this and really exposing what's really happening. And again, um, I guess this whole sexual rights for children, what can we do as parents? I do want to end with that too. We've talked about the importance of motherhood in that role, but what about this sexual rights for children? I mean, it's shocking to hear that this is an agenda. What do we need to be aware of and doing and protect, and how to protect our kids better?
Thank you. And there are several things that we need and can do. The main thing we need to do is to teach at home. Now, I'm not saying we have to homeschool. I'm saying we
Okay.
have to teach our children at home
Correct.
the truth about specifically chastity, marriage, sex, gender, and the family.
Mm.
Like these aren't just assumed anymore. Our children aren't
Right.
going to get the positive and right message about these things anymore if we don't provide it. So we need to find appropriate and frequent ways to
Right.
teach our children what we believe about these key important issues and to be
Right.
consistent at it. And that's non-optional. And I believe that's the place where we can actually have the biggest impact, is in our homes, teaching our children what we believe is right. Now, of course, beyond that, our schools have been infected with this sexual rights ideology seeping, everyone's alarmed at what we're seeing in the past 2 years, right? Coming out in schools, all these sexual things. Well, surprise, in my book, I kind of expose where that's been coming from to a very large degree. And it's anchored at the United Nations and their partners, and they have billions of dollars to push this agenda forward and to get it not only into our schools, but into the culture. And so we have to fight to keep comprehensive sexuality education out of our schools. As a resource for this, people can go to stopcse.org. I think your members have been in this fight against comprehensive sexuality education, but that's a site that's super helpful. Stopcse.org. There's first of all, a documentary there that's really helpful, a short and long version. Don't let any kids see it, of course, but it paints the picture very clearly. And then there's also a map where you can click on your state, see what's happening there and how you can be involved. And the third thing I would suggest is phone use. Even if we teach at home, even if we are successful in getting sexual content out of our schools, if we then hand our children a fully enabled device, internet-enabled device, we hand it all to them anyway. Right. And I think we need to really reconsider what we're doing, handing our children devices like this. And it's easy to say, well, I have to because of this and this and this. But do you really? And I think of it as like when you see a drug advertised on TV, all the good it does, and then you see this long line of possible side effects. You know what I'm talking about, those commercials. Yeah. And at the end of it is possible death, think about phone use that way. Yes, it can help your child connect. Maybe they need it to do their homework, whatever. But if the list of side effects is so profound and so awful that in the end you lose the soul of your child, I know. Perhaps we need to look for another way, and we need to protect our children, not confuse trusting our children with protecting our children, because they still need our protection, even in their teenage years. So we've got to teach, we've got to protect at school, and we've got to protect in social media and the phones.
Yeah, and they need it more the older they get. I remember at 11, 12 years old, I had decided that my dad was just too strict. And he said to me, oh, no, when you were little, Mama took care of you. When you're older, Daddy taking care of you. Because these are
what a good dad.
Right, because these are when you can make the most horrific decisions. The older they get, the bigger the problems are. And to the phones, you've got a little guy coming up. I've got a high schooler, and we've done things completely different than I did from 7, 8 years ago with my older kids, because the culture is changing. And that's what moms have to understand. The culture is changing. Now you've got to look at this phone as almost as an enemy. And what's coming in there is going to be teaching your child much more than you can ever expose. So we have to just be handling things so different. And I told my son, my kids, when they'd say, well, the other parents don't do this, I said, well, too bad. Those parents need to be doing it. I'll give them a call and let them know, because they need to wake up. They need to wake up.
And I think we can band together with other parents. And so we're not the only ones that are doing it for our kids, and we can create around our children intentionally a culture that we want to support for them.
Last clip here, I just want to have you talk about just briefly, I guess, if we have a couple of minutes here, the 4 tactics to unseat motherhood, because we've covered it all, but I want to bring it back to the fact is that they want to deny the role of motherhood. And what are some of those tactics that you're seeing?
Right. Well, the first thing to do is they want to dethrone mothers from their powerful seat that they're sitting on. And first of all, they entice mothers to step off that seat voluntarily, to tell moms that we need to free them from the care of their own children so that they can do something that's more helpful and productive. That is the main one that we're witnessing right now. And then, other tactics include commercializing parenthood, which is done through third-party reproduction, and the family structure that we're now allowing legally plays into that in a big way. And so, there's a push to get mothers to not, it's been said that to get someone to give up their power, you just need to convince them that they don't have any. And I think that's what's happened with women and mothers. Oh, that's such a non-powerful position. Like when I'm at the United Nations, so often, just I was there a couple of weeks ago, and this woman said, and so often it said, I look around
Crazy.
and I don't see women in positions of power. And I just want to say, you're looking in the wrong place. Every mother who is the queen of her home and the master of her family is in a position of power beyond, the leader of a country. Yes, we can have women as leaders of countries. That doesn't bother me. We can have women in political positions. That doesn't bother me. But to say that she looks around and doesn't see women in positions of power, look around, look deeper, look to the home. That's where true power lies.
Kimberly, don't you sometimes feel like, are we living in different worlds? Because some of these people have such a bizarre take on the world. I just never felt like I couldn't do anything or be anything. I had my baby on my hip and I just keep going forward, right?
Right.
And that's what we do as moms. But like you're saying, it's the freeing women from the family. So it's back to the oppressed and the oppression,
Yes.
oppressed, and it's
Uh-huh.
let the state take it, let the school take it. Just convincing women that they can't do it, or it's just too big, it's just too hard.
Right,
But
which is such a disempowering message. And they always, the
right, it's
line
the
is always,
opposite.
we want to empower women. Well, let's tell them where their power really lies. And just, kind of to wrap up, it was Lenin who said, give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted. He understands, and all savvy leaders understand, that those first critical years of life are key. And the forces around us are after those first 4 years. Don't give them up, moms. Don't give them up. They're yours. God gave them to you, and they are yours to shape your children. And it will have profound and lifelong and worldwide consequences.
Amen, sister. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for your book. Tell us again the title of your book and where we can get it at.
Sure. Let me hold it up here for you. It's
The
Invincible Family: Why the Global Campaign to Crush Motherhood and Fatherhood Can't Win. You can find it on Amazon. And also my website is invinciblefamily.com.
I love it. That's what I want to be, an invincible family.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Kimberly. We're praying for you and your tribe and really your mission. So thanks so much, Pam, for what you're doing. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
What a great conversation with Kimberly. I know you're going to want to go ahead and get her book. So please put that on your purchase list. Alrighty, so here in closing, I do want to invite everyone again to visit our website at momsforamerica.us to check out all of our resources, our events, our programs. We have so much material for you moms that will help you just to raise patriots and to make a difference in your home and in your community. One of those programs is our cottage meetings. It is 12 lessons that will inspire and educate you about America's amazing heritage, so you can share those principles of liberty in your home and, again, right in your community. This is how moms are making a difference all across the country, right? We here at Moms for America, we encourage, empower, educate you, mom, and then you go ahead and you teach your children. That's what's so powerful about mamas. Alrighty, we also want to invite you to sign up for our weekly newsletter. Go ahead, when you're on our website, sign up for our newsletter. This will help you get educated on issues that relate to you as a mom and engage with moms all across the country and find out exactly what we're doing here at Moms for America. Also, if you have any feedback on the podcast or a guest or a topic, would you please email me at podcast@momsforamerica.net. I would love to hear from you. All right, mamas, we say this every week. We believe that liberty begins at home and that you moms, you are truly the heartbeat of America. That's why this movement is so powerful. It's because of moms just like you. Alrighty, I will see you back here next week for another informative episode on our podcast. Like, subscribe, share, follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are so glad that you're here. And as always, mamas, let's keep changing our world one home at a time. I'll talk to you soon.